Hi, Joe Cerrone, and today we're going to model this jaw screw for our mechanical vise assembly for the bench vise. All right, so as we look at this part, what we're going to do is we're going to take and create a new part drawing. We're going to use millimeters, and we're going to start by drawing the profile of this shape. And so to get started, we're going to go into SolidWorks. And I'm going to start a new part drawing. I'm going to say OK to that. I like to change the background so that it's plain white. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the front plane, creating a sketch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a sketch of the profile of this component right here. And so I think I'll set it up so that I will draw a center line from this point right here. And I'll bring that out. Before I get started, let's make sure the units are properly set. And so we want millimeters. And then let's do that again. Start a sketch. Center line. And so as we bring that out, we'll bring that out to about 140. Close enough. And then as we start to work on creating the shape of this, there's a couple of different ways. We could use like what we call the cake method, where we do cylinders and we stack each of these different cylinders up, or we can just draw the profile of it and revolve it. And I'm going to just draw the profile of it and revolve it. And so we'll start off by drawing the basic shape. And so we'll come up here and we'll bring this up. And so this is going to be about 6. And then we'll bring this over, bring this down, zoom in a little bit. This one's going to be even with that. Okay, once we have our basic shape created, what we're going to do is we're going to start to add some dimensions to that. So we use smart dimensions. We'll start off by making the overall 138. So we'll come over here and here. And then we'll add the other components. All right, so we're fully defined. We have our components there. I also like to put like a little holding place in here for where the hole is going to be. And so I'm going to locate that 12 millimeters with a smart dimension from the edge. And that way I'll be able to use that component to grab onto to create the whole geometry. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to revolve this. So we'll go to features, revolve, say yes. And then we'll say our axis is going to be right here. Green check mark that. So here's our basic shape for that. And then if we want to, we can go and we can sketch on the top plane, spacebar, normal 2, and then we can create center mark. And we can create that circular geometry on that. And we'll make that a 6 millimeter diameter. Green check mark that. Locate that. I meant to do that from the sketch, but it didn't quite work out. So we'll just go through and do it this way. And that's going to be 12. And then we'll extrude cut. Through all both. And we'll green check mark that. And then as we look at the component itself, what we can do is we can add threads to this. And so we can use the threading tool to add threads to it. And we're going to set that up with the threading aspect of M16 by 1.5. So we'll come back here. Let's save it in case it explodes on us. We've got most of our modeling work done. And I'm going to save it as now I have my middle initial as I do these more than once. Save it. All right, so to go through and to add the threads to it, let's make it a little bit more interesting. Let's put a little color on it. And so I think we'll make it light blue. And then as we work with the threading tool, we're going to go under the whole wizard. We're going to say thread. And it did explode on me last time, so hopefully it will work for me this time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the edge of it right here. And then I'm going to set that up as a metric die. So I'll say metric die. And then I'm going to say M1.6 and M16 1.5. There we go. So there's our thread. And then we can make the distance for that. We can just start to increase that until we reach, and that's a little bit too far. If I look at the PDF for that, we're going to have it at 82, and we'll probably make it a little bit longer, and then we'll offset it. So let's just make it 85. And then what we want to do is we want to offset it so that the threads actually have some bite. So otherwise we won't be able to put the component onto the thread. So we want to add a slight offset here. And we're going to go and reverse that the other direction. Perfect. And then as we look at that, that'll give us enough to give us a thread. We may want to go, let's just go with 2, just to be safe enough that we get an entire thread on it. And then we want to make sure that we're over in this end too. Green check mark it. And that's our thread, and we can then 3D print that as well. We'll save this, and I'll just save it again as my jack screw. Save. Yes. And we'll rebuild this document. All right. So that's our jack screw. If we want to go back to the assembly drawing, we can then bring it into this assembly. If I go and take this one out, and then we go and insert that component. And then we can go through and start to create the mates for creating that part. All right, so that completes this video. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll make another video.